I'm waiting for 2 minutes more. Okay, let student join the session and I'll start with the session. Meanwhile, you can just revise the session, what we have done in our last Saturday's session. Or before that, we even got one chance on Wednesday. That 45 minutes of time which we had with each other, you can just go through that topic. The topic which we covered was Q. So while others are joining, you can just have a glance if you have noted down somewhere. Okay, I'm presenting my screen. When you can see the screen, just acknowledge. Okay. So see, today we are going to start with the rest of the Q part. Okay, in our previous session, we have gone through what is your linear Q. All right, linear Q means the simpler one, the simplest Q. When I say linear Q, it is nothing but the simplest of the all. Right? So that is your Q. Now, first of all, do tell me, do you remember what is Q? When I say that define Q, then what is the definition that you are going to give? Don't give me the pattern. I'm just saying what is Q according to you guys. You can unmute yourself and answer. You can even write in the chat. What is Q? From the diagram itself, you can say. The picture itself. In line one by one, okay. Try to answer more in a technical language. See, that's what I said. I'm not asking the pattern. When I specifically ask what is the pattern of operation followed by the Q, then you should answer first in, first out. Okay. What I am asking is, what do you understand by Q? Definition of Q. Linear structure, yeah, okay.
This is a data structure very similar to stacks.
Similar to stacks. Okay.
but it open with both the side. Like we can do operation with both the side, not like stacks on which we can perform any operation on only one or a top side.
Okay, nearby but not exact. See, you all of you are correct part by part. Okay, but you have to merge all of your answers. Yes, Bharti, right. See, your queues are having homogeneous elements. What do you mean by homogeneous elements? Means same kind of data elements, okay, which are having linear kind of a structure. Okay, so that's why your queues are included in your linear data structures. Okay, it is an ordered collection of items, right? As you guys said correctly, items are deleted from one end and inserted from another end. Okay, the end from which the items are getting deleted is called front. All right, and the end from where the items are inserted is called rear. All right, so front and rear, they are the structures of related data items. Fine. And this was the example which we have seen so far, the simplest one. Fine, and we had discussed that what are the day-to-day examples of queue. You guys had answered it as bill payment. Then I had answered it as movie ticket, correct? Then fees payment, the line for the fees payment, line for bill payment. Okay. So these are our day-to-day queue examples. Fine. Then we also saw that the first element which is inserted in the queue is the first one to be removed. Okay, so when I ask specifically that what is pattern of queue operations, then you have to say that it is first in first out or first come first serve. Don't write it as first line of answer in examination if it is asked that write a note on queue, 4 marks, okay, or define queue. Then don't go and write first in first out, because that is the pattern, that is not queue. For queue you have to write these things, that it is an ordered collection of items. It has you can add an element from one end and you can delete an element from another end. Okay, the one which is the one end from where deletion is happening is called front. The end from where insertion is happening is called rear. And all the structures, or say the elements, are of homogeneous and related items. Okay, so this much you have to write. Don't go and write first in first out, because pattern is not asked. Okay, when they are asking you the pattern specifically, then you should mention that queue is called first in first out or first come first serve. Fine. Then we had seen that all the operations are taking from one end of the queue or the other. Okay, so that is NQ or the DQ. Fine. So this was the example GIF which we have seen. Fine. The beers are getting out from one end, the table end, and they are getting inserted into the line from the back side. Okay. We had also seen the array representation of your queues. We know now that queues are represented using arrays. Alright. One can insert or remove the element from the queue structure. Okay, so front is going to be responsible variable when you are going for deletion. Rear is the responsible variable when you are going for insertion. Okay, so this is how queue looks like using array. We had inserted HELLO, hello. Okay, and accordingly front and rear were acting up. We'll see how it is, what it is doing. Okay, now operations on queue, majorly two operations. One is NQ and one is DQ. Okay, what is NQ operation? insertion operation. Okay, so you are going to insert the element. So now in terms of Q, if I tell you that you have to insert the element, you are not going to take it as insertion operation. You are going to remember it as NQ operation. Okay, in Q specifically. So insert an element in the Q is called your NQ operation. Remember this. Okay. If you want to delete, then it is DQ operation. Purpose of NQ and DQ is, purpose for NQ, insert the element. Purpose for DQ, delete the element. Okay. But now onwards, as we have come across these two terms, we are not going to address operation of Qs as insertion and deletion. Okay. In terms of Q, you are going to address them as NQ operation and DQ operation. Okay. So this was one of the example. We are going for NQ, so rear is getting incremented. Now we are going for DQ, so front is getting incremented and elements are removed. Initially, front and rear equal to -1. Okay. This was the another example, last which we had seen. Front gets incremented, removing all the elements. Okay. Rear gets incremented when it is adding. Again, I said that in some books you are going to find it as front and back instead of rear. In some you are going to find it as head and tail. Okay. So head is front, tail is rear. Okay. Or the book which I am referring has front and rear. Okay. So generally front and rear is what it is named, but then again naming convention do not make any difference. Fine. So you have to remember this. It can be either front or rear. It can be either front or back. It can be even head and tail. Okay. All these are just naming conventions. It makes no difference in the operations. Clear? Everybody till here? Clear? Okay. So from now onwards, I want you guys to note down some points. Okay. You have to compulsorily note down some points, otherwise it will be hard to remember, because we have seen arrays, we have seen stacks, now we are seeing Q. In Q also there are 3 types, so 3 different kinds of conditions for Q to be empty and Q to be full. Okay, so I don't want any student of mine to get confused, so it is better that at least you write small points. All right. Point number 1 for linear Q. For Q to be empty, okay, your linear Q to be empty, the condition is front and rear both pointing at -1. Okay, so front equal to rear equal to -1. That means your Q is empty. Okay, so when you are going for insertion operation, you have to first of all check. Either you can check that Q is completely full, or you can check Q is completely empty. Okay. So if, and for Q to be full, note this point also. For your linear Q to be full, the condition is rear is equals to max size -1. Max size is the size of your array. Okay. So when rear is equals to max size -1, that means your Q is completely full. There is no space to insert any element. Okay. For Q to be empty, front equal to rear equal to -1. For Q to be full, rear is equals to max size -1. Okay. So in insert operation, you can choose either of the one, but here we are choosing for rear equal to max size -1. Why? Because even if it is at -1, we'll get to know that there is some space. If it is at max size -1, then we'll get to know that there is no space. Okay, so with this condition, we are going to check that rear is equals to max size -1. Then you are going to write that Q is overflowing. That means there is no space in your Q to add. So to do your NQ operation. Okay, and we are going to return back to our main function. But if there is a space, that means rear is equals to max size -1 is false. Then first of all, there can be two cases. Okay, either the element which you are going to add will be the first element, or it will be the nth element. Nth element means second, third, fourth, fifth, like that. Okay, so if it is first element, then you have to check if front is equals to -1 and rear equal to -1. That means if this condition is true, the element which you are going to add will be the first element in the array. Okay, so you have to increment both front and rear. Okay, but if it is not, if there is element already present in the array, then you have to write, just you have to increment your rear. You don't have to touch your front. Okay, so rear is equals to rear plus 1. Now wherever the rear is pointing at after incrementing, wherever at whichever index value your rear is pointing at that index value you are going to add your element. Num is the new element which is to be added. Okay, and after that you are going to exit from the function. This NQ operation clear to everyone, or you need some more logical explanation to this?
Can you repeat this last from step 3 again?
Okay, let me show you with the help of an example. Okay, I'm keeping this operation as it is. See, onto your screen you could see some lines of code. This line of code is for Q. Okay, I'm defining my max size as 50. Now, as we all know that now array we are Q we are representing it with the help of arrays. Okay, so I initialized one array and size I'm giving it as max because max is 50 here. Okay, which is globally defined. Insert, delete, and display operation are there. Now coming to your insert operation, that is your NQ operation. Okay. See, first of all, I am taking one integer kind of a variable add item, okay, which is going to store my new element. Now, according to our algorithm, rear is equals to max minus 1. If this condition is true, so here I have written if line number 51, if rear is equals to max minus 1, max is my 50, okay. So printf q overflow, correct? Else what I'm going to write is if front is equals to -1, all right, or you can also write here and rear is equal -1, fine. Then what you are going to do, you are going to increment your front, okay. So front equal to front plus 1, or if you don't want to write front plus 1, you can directly write here 0 also. Front is equals to 0, okay. Then what we are doing, printf insert element, okay. So add item which we took, we are taking scanning from the user and we are taking this add item. Now we are incrementing our rear, okay. So rear plus 1, here also we incremented from -1 to 0. Okay, here also we are incrementing, so it is written in just one sentence, one line of code, rear equal to rear plus 1. And step number 3, wherever the Q now in rear is going to point at, wherever the rear is going to point at whichever index value in your array, there I am going to set my add item, okay. Now it is clear, Pranjul?
Yes, ma'am. I got it.
Okay. Any doubt, anybody, in this NQ operation? Apart from those who have answered it already, any doubt? Okay. So now we are going to move forward with her DQ operation. Okay. Insert we saw. Now we are going to move forward with our DQ operation, that is a delete. Alright, so for delete, the first and the foremost thing which you have to check is that there are some elements present in your queue to get deleted. Okay, so that means your queue should not be empty. So now tell me, what is the condition for queue to be not empty? When can you say that queue is empty? Okay, first tell me that. When can you say that queue is empty? Front and rear both equal to -1, not just rear, but front and rear both equal to -1. Then you can say that your queue is empty. Correct, everybody. Absolutely right. So that is the condition which you are going to check. Okay, that if your front is equal to -1, or you can also write front equal to rear equal to -1, or front is greater than rear. Okay, you'll understand why this greater than rear, I'll tell you. Then you are going to write it as underflow. Okay, that means there are no elements, queue is empty. That is what you are going to write. But if that condition is false, then you are going to go in the else part. In else part, first thing which you are going to do is you are going to retrieve the value wherever the front is pointing at. Okay, then you are going to increment your front. Okay, and then for the user you are going to return that retrieved value, that this particular value is getting deleted. Okay, so that means return value, and you are going to exit from your DQ. Again, I'm repeating. First of all, you are going to check that your queue is not empty. Okay, if it is empty, you are going to write queue is empty. Else, you are first of all going to retrieve the value wherever currently the front is pointing at. Okay, once it is retrieved, you are going to increment your front. All right, and then you are going to return the retrieved value for user to know that exactly which value is getting deleted, and then you are going to exit from the function. So if you can see here in the program, if my front is equal -1 or my front is greater than rear, okay, printf queue underflow, that means queue is empty. All right, else you have to store, or you have to first of all tell the user exactly which value is getting deleted. So the current position of front will be printed. Okay, once it is printed for the user, you are going to increment your front from front equal to front plus 1, and that marks the end of your DQ operation. Okay, now if you want to display your array, then simple, your for loop you have to run. It is in a similar way, the way you are displaying your arrays. Okay, I is equals to front, I should be less than or equal to rear. Okay, I plus plus. Why I is equals to front? Because wherever the front is pointing at, that will be the element which is the first one. Okay, even if after the deletion. And rear is the element which is lastly added. Okay, so from front to rear, you have to go on printing your array. All right, so if I run this program, it is going to prompt me that enter your choice. Okay, let's say we are inserting the element. Okay, so insert the element, so 25. Again it is going to ask, so again I'm inserting 68. Again insert 102. Okay, 1102, fine. Wait, it is asking me for choice. Okay, 1. So insert element 102. Now I want to display. So number 3. So my queue is 25, 68, 102. Now let's go for delete. So number 2. So first in, first out. The first one was 25, correct? So the element deleted from the queue is 25. 25 was my first element here. See. Okay, so first in, first out. Now again I go for display. So see, 68 and 102. Okay, so this is how your linear queue is going to work. Alright, so this was your DQ and NQ for linear queues. Now there are some drawbacks of this linear queue. Can you tell me what can be the drawback? Logically think, and what comes in mind if we have to point out some drawback of linear queue? Can you think over anything? You can take a hunch, I don't mind.
We can only insert once.
Yes, correct.
After deletion, it's not possible to insert the elements again.
Exactly. So what is happening? You are
मैम वो
absolutely
अगर
right.
एक पोजीशन पे अगर एक पोजीशन पे मैम एक का कुछ डेटा आ गया तो फिर उसकी जगह पे दूसरा का भी नहीं आ सकता।
नहीं, हम ओवरराइट तो कर सकते हैं, लेकिन जो विजय आंसर दे रहा है वो करेक्ट है. लाइक you cannot go back again to index value which already it has been deleted. We can't delete the element from the middle. No, not that. That is not the drawback. What Vijay said is the correct explanation, but it is not pinpoint. See, if you want to add any element to the queue, okay, it is going to prompt you overflow. Fine. So this is the basic fact. Okay, once you have reached rear equal to max minus 1, you cannot go and add element again. Okay, but in this scenario, let me show you one thing. Explanation of Vijay was absolutely right. Okay, but he could not just name that scenario. Okay, suppose let's say this is your one cell. Okay, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 and 7. Fine. Okay, this is your queue. Index values are 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6. Alright, so here is your rear. So rear is equals to 6. Okay, let's just give here as KAUSHA. Okay, and let's say M, or we can write L. Fine. I hope it is visible to all what I'm writing. This is my R, my F is here. Okay, so F is equals to 0. Fine. Now let's say I'm going for DQ operation. Okay, so when I go for DQ operation, obviously I'm going to DQ first K. Okay, so K got removed from here. F is incremented to 1. Okay, now A got removed. Let's say we are removing U also, and we removed S also. Fine. So now F is going to point here. All right. You removed. Okay, F is not going to point here. S is removed, so it will be here somewhere. Now see, what Vijay said is you cannot add more numbers once it is deleted. Even though you are having the space here, this space is still allocated to your array, correct? But you cannot, rear is here at its max size. This space, this whole space is getting wasted. Why? Because array is consuming that space. But because of the mechanism of this linear queue, you are not going back again to these empty spaces to fill out the next insertion elements. Okay, so that is what happening. Wastage of space is happening. All right. So that is the major drawback, that it is wasting the space. Though it is telling you the correct thing. Once it reaches the max size, it is telling you the correct way, that there is no space to enter new element. But if we see logically, then actually there are spaces to add. But because there is no mechanism to go back again to this 0th index or 1 or 2 or 3, wastage of space is coming into the picture. Okay. Now you understood what is the drawback of linear queue? This is the drawback. Find that even if there are space, it is going to tell you overflow. So in a way it is right, because rear has reached max size -1. But as there is no a mechanism to go back again to this 0th index, okay, so you cannot use this space despite of having it allocated to the memory, and that memory is free. Okay, so that's why types of queues were introduced. Okay, now there are majorly 3 types of queues. One is your circular queue, one is DQ, and one is priority queue. Okay, we are going to see one by one each of them. First of all, we are going to see circular queue. Okay, now from the name itself you can make out that it will be something related to circle, and we have discussed that this space, this highlighted space, okay, this highlighted space is getting wasted. We don't want to waste it anymore. All right, so what developers did, the developers introduced circular queue. Now in circular queue, you can go back again to the 0th index, okay, thus making it circular in nature. Okay, this rear, once it has reached here max size -1, you can again reset this rear to r equal to 0, and then you can add the element. Okay, and then you can go on incrementing it one by one. Fine. So that is what the mechanism of circular queue is. it is not linear anymore now, but it is circular in shape. In shape means in a manner. Okay. Actually, in the memory, it is not circular. That is what we are visualizing it. But it is due to its mechanism, we can say that it is in circular. So once your queue is full, okay, that means rear is equals to max size minus 1. That means your queue is full. The first element becomes the rearmost element if and only if front has moved forward. That means here again this rear is going to get, now here it is max size minus 1. Okay, front has moved forward 4 blocks, 1 2 3 4 blocks front has moved. Okay, so this condition only if front has moved forward is true. So what another part is, first element becomes the rearmost element. That means now you can add here one more element and that will become the rearmost. Rearmost means the latest added element. Okay, so if it is max size minus 1, so Q is full. What you can do, you can remove this R equal to 6 from here. You can reset back to R equal to 0. Okay, you can add an element, a new element now. Let's say D. Okay, so now you can say that this D is the rearmost element. Rearmost element means the newest element added. Okay, so the first element, it is first element in the queue, becomes the rearmost element, means the newly added element, if and only if front has moved forward. If and only if front has moved forward. If front was here, okay, if this situation was something like this, H, K, L, okay, and front was here and rear was here, okay, then you cannot say that you can go on in a circular manner and add the element because there is no space. Okay, front is also at 0, rear is also at max size minus 1, so there is no space. So you need to move your front first. Okay, that means you have to do your DQ operation and then you can go again for your NQ operation. Okay, so that statement is explaining this phenomena. This condition is not true. It will throw Q overflow error if the above condition is not true. So this means if it is this scenario, then it is going to throw you Q is overflowing, which is right, correct? So for circular Q, please note down everybody, if front is equals to 0 and rear is equals to max minus 1, that means logically thinking then this scenario, front is equals to 0 and rear is equals to max size minus 1, then you are going to say that your circular queue is full. Okay, new concept, new condition for queue to be full. Circular queue is full when your front is 0 and your rear is equal to max size minus 1. Please note here I am saying and, it is not or. Okay, so this both conditions to be true are to be said to be true, then only you can say that circular queue is full. This is the diagram representation of what I made you saw in the Excel. Okay, you have some elements 1, 3, 9, 7, 8. The queue is holding those elements, queue is full. Okay, front is at 0th index, rear is at 4th index. Okay, so front equal to 0 and rear equal to max minus 1, then you can say circular queue is full. Now for the queue to be empty, so it remains the same condition, front equal to rear equal to minus 1, just like your linear queue. Okay, so that means your circular queue is empty. Okay, there are no elements, front and rear both pointing at minus 1. Okay, noted this down. these two conditions? Please note down if you have not. Because see, all these conditions will get, you know, mixed up when you are dealing with stacks, when you are dealing with the queue, when you are dealing with arrays, when you are dealing with linked list, which is yet to be seen. Okay, linked list is also having the types like circular, like queues. Linked list is also having types, and they are also having their own conditions. So later on, do not say that we got confused. That's why I'm saying write it down. Somewhere keep a note. Okay. So I hope everybody has noted these two conditions for circular queue to be full and for circular queue to be empty. Okay, students, clear till here? Rest of the students did not get? See, it is better to ask, and if you have any doubts at the time when topic is getting discussed, okay? Because it is like a building block. If you understand this, you'll understand the further topics. Okay. Don't see, students, don't get, you know, in an impression that other people's time will get wasted, or what will others think about my doubt or anything like that. Okay, don't think about those things. If you don't get it, stop me right there and do tell me that what is the doubt which you are having, and I'll be gladly solving it. Okay, maybe it might happen that two of you are having same doubt, but because one is not speaking up and one spoke up, both the students' doubts got cleared. Okay, so don't feel shy or don't feel like anything like that we are going to waste the time. Fine. All right. Now let's see it in an example method. Okay. Let's say you have a circular queue with some values as 1875. So if we want to, you know, have a look in a logical representation way, then we can think of the queue something like this. Okay, q of 0 here, the top one, q of 0 is having value 1, q of 1 is having 8, q of 2 is having 7, q of 3 is having 5, and there is one space empty. Okay, so queue is not completely full, it has one space. Now let's say we went for our deletion. Okay, so here you can say that your front is pointing at q of 0 currently. Okay, and rear is pointing at q of 3. Okay, understand this, front is at 0, okay, and rear is at 3 index value. Now we are going for deleting. Okay, that means we have to deal with front, we don't have to touch our rear. Okay, so we are deleting values 1 and 8. Okay, so we deleted, so front incremented from 0 to 1. Okay, rear is at 3 only. Now again we went for a DQ. Okay, so 8 is deleted, so front from 1 to 2. Now the current position of front and rear is front is pointing at 2. Okay, and rear is pointing here at 3. Okay, now let's say we are going for NQ operation. So we can go for NQ operation. Why? Because there are spaces, okay, at index value 4, at index value 0, and index value 1. So we can easily go for our NQ operation. Okay, so we are inserting the values 4 and 6. 2 values DQ'd, 2 values inserted, NQ'd. Okay, so now your rear, which was previously pointing at 5, you go for NQ operation. Rear now increments to 4. Okay, from 3, 5 was the value. From 3 to it gets 4. Okay, it is going to add the element 4. Now it is going to check, okay, that front is pointing at 0. No, front is not pointing at 0. Why? Because front is at index value 2. So you can come to know that 0 is having empty space. So it can easily go for NQ operation again. So your the rear will get reset at 0. Okay. So rear is now pointing at 0. It is going to do the NQ operation by adding 6. Okay. So now rear is at 0. Front is at 2. Clear? This example? Any doubt in this example? Okay, so what I demonstrated was the mechanism of NQ and DQ in your circular cube. Okay, this is how it is going to happen. Now, as I said, it is not actually in a circular manner. Okay, in your memory, it is not actually in a circular manner. We just pretend that our array is in circular manner. Actually, inside your memory, it is like this only. Okay, buffer 0, buffer 1 till buffer 15. Once it reaches buffer 15, again it goes back to buffer 0. Okay, so it jumped from 15 to back to 0. So that is creating a circular kind of an pattern from 15 to 0. Again 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 till 15. Okay, again from 15 back to 0. Okay, so we pretend that this array is in a circular manner, but actually in your memory it is like this only. Alright. Now how it actually works. Okay, let's see. It works by the process of circular increment, as we saw in a previous example also. Okay, what we are going to do is, when we try to increment any variable and we reach the end of the cube, okay, we are going to start back again from the beginning by modulo division. Till date, what you were doing, you were just incrementing +1, +1, rear +1, rear +1. But now what you are going to do is, once you reach the end of the cube, you are again going to begin with 0. Okay, and how we are going to reset it? You are not going to reset it is directly as r equal to rear equal to 0. You are going to use your modular division. Okay, so this is the condition. If rear +1 is equal 5, okay, 5 is the max size. So it is going to go for overflow. Okay, and once it is overflow, what you are going to do is, you are going to reset your rear by how? By this particular formula. Rear +1 modulo max size. Okay, 5 is the max size. So rear +1. So 5 modulo 5. So that is 0. Correct? So it is the start of the cube. So this is what you are going to now use. Rear equal to rear +1 modulo 5. When you are going for NQ and you are getting an overflow condition, okay, then you are going to reset. But then you are also going to check with your front also. Okay, front should have moved. Okay, so front should not be equal to 0. Your front also should have moved somewhere. Okay, then only you can reset this R back to 0 and then you can go for NQ. Alright. So let's see with an example. Let's say your green arrow is front. Okay, and your pink arrow is rear. Alright. So both of them are pointing at -1. So that means it is an empty cube. Front equal to rear equal to -1. So your circular cube is empty. Now we are adding the first element. So the rule remains same. If you are adding it for the first time, then you have to increment both of them, both front and rear. Okay, so both of them are pointing at 0 right now. Now we are going for another NQ operation. Okay, so front you don't have to touch anymore. Front is always going to point at 0. NQ, is going to increment your rear, and wherever at whichever index value the rear is pointing at, you are going to add the element. Okay, so again an NQ operation. You are going to do this NQ till you fill up your Q. Okay, so 2, 3, 4, 5. Now F is equals to 0, R is equals to max size minus 1. Okay, now you can go for DQ operation because we want to add more elements. So we have to first of all empty our memory. Okay, so we are going for DQ operation. So now rear is going to remain as it is, as its place. You are going to DQ and increment your front. Okay, so 2 times DQ. So front incremented twice. Once to 1, another to 2. Okay, so that was your DQ operation. Now you can see that you can reset back your rear. You can add the elements. Why? Because the 0 and 1 position are empty. So you can use the modulo division. Okay, reset your rear back to 0. All right, and you can go for your NQ operation. So now your rear is pointing at 0 and Q of 0 is equals to 6. Okay, so you went for NQ operation. Again you can do NQ operation, correct, because F is not equal to 1, F is pointing at 2, and you can go and add the rear. Okay, so increment your rear to 1 and Q of 1, 7 is added. Now Q is full. Okay, now no more you can say insertion is to be happening. Okay, so how can you write the NQ operation here? We have seen 2 examples till date. Okay, one was the in a circular manner I showed you. Another is this previous one. Okay, how one by one the block by block insertion is happening. So now compare. Okay, first of all, if it is your very first, if you have reached the end of your Q, that means if this is the condition. Okay, F is equals to 0, rear is max size minus 1. So step 1, you are going to write overflow. Okay, so what you did, you checked the condition that can you do an NQ operation. So for that, front is equals to front is equals to 0 and rear is equals to max size minus 1. Okay, if that condition is false, then you have to check that whether you are going to add the element to be the first time or not. Okay, so you can say you are going to check for this condition. Okay, that the element which you want to add is the very first element or not. So if front equal to rear equal to minus 1 is true, then you have to increment front and rear both to 0. Okay, and then you are going for insertion. Okay, so Q of rear, that means Q of 0 equal to your element. Else if means the element is not the first one, but it is the nth one. Okay, so your front is not equal to 0 and rear equal to max minus 1. That means this condition. Okay, that means this condition. Front is not equal to 0. That means some DQ operation has been already done. Okay, and you have reached till the maximum size in your NQ operation also. Else if front not equal to 0 and rear is max minus 1, then set rear equal to 0. Okay, that means what you are going to use, rear plus 1 modulo max size. Alright, that is what you are going to use. That will give you the result as 0. So you are going to reset this R back again here to 0. Okay, else if this is also all 3 of them is not the condition, then simply rear equal to rear plus 1, okay, and you're going to end this else if ladder. Wherever the rear is pointing at, you're going to place your element and you're going to exit. Any doubt in this NQ operation for circular queue? Students, any doubt? What about those students who are there in the session but not saying even yes or no? You guys, I hope you are getting it. Smeet, Samir, Saf, Riddhi, Preet. Om is the new joinee at 10:30. Josh, Isha, Div. See, if you have any doubts, I can explain it again also. Okay? And that's why I'm keeping as many possible and as many visualizations for you. And please make a note for at least the conditions. Okay? If not the whole algorithm, then fine. But at least the condition part, you should be able to know and identify. All right. So coming to your DQ operation in your circular queue. Okay, this was your NQ operation for your circular queue. Now coming to your DQ operation. Okay. Now in DQ operation, first of all, obviously you are going to check that there are elements to be deleted or not, because if there are no elements, no use for DQ. Okay, so you are going to check it with if front is equals to -1. If front is equals to -1, okay, then you are going to write underflow. That means there are no elements inside your queue. Okay. Afterwards, if this condition is false, front equal to -1, false, then what you are going to do? You are going to take the value wherever the front is currently pointing at. Okay, inside a variable. So let's say that variable is val. So val is containing the data part of wherever the front is pointing at whichever index. Now if front is equal to rear, okay, that means if front and rear both are pointing at same index value, then you are going to set front and rear back to -1. That means both of them, suppose my rear is somewhere here. Okay, I copied it. There are some elements A, J, N, and okay, this is empty. Okay, now F went on deleting. Okay, F is back again at 0 because it is also going to follow the circular manner of DQ. Okay, so F deleted K also, F deleted J also, and now F is pointing here, deleting n. Okay, so r is equals to 2 and f is also equal to 2. Okay, this is the case. So see, you can see that q is empty. Okay, so we are going to reset both of them back to -1. Okay, they are no more going to be pointing here at this index value, but they will be back here again pointing to be -1. Okay, why? Because q was empty. Okay, so if front is equals to rear, you are going to set front and rear both to -1. Else, front is equals to max -1. That means rear is here, our previous scenario. Oh, sorry. Okay, front is here somewhere. So it is max size -1, correct? Then you are going to set your front equal to 0 using the same modulo function. Okay, front equal to front plus 1 modulo max size. So it is going to set your front from this position back to here. Okay, else if everything front is not equal to rear, front is not equal to max size -1, then simply what you are doing for DQ, you have to do that. Increment your front, remove the element. Okay, you are coming out of this ladder and you are returning the value wherever the front was pointing at. Okay, and with this it is your exit. One more time. First of all, you are going to check that there are elements for DQing. Okay, so front equal to -1. If it is true, then write overflow underflow. If it is false, then wherever the front is pointing at, first you are going to retrieve that value. Okay, then you are going to check, because we have to increment a front for a DQ operation. So first we are going to check various kinds of scenarios. First scenario is if my front is equal to rear. Okay, that means my Q is entirely empty. Fine. So I am going to reset my front and rear back to -1. But if that is not the case, if front is equals to max -1, then using the modulo function, I am going to reset my front back to 0. Okay. But if both these scenarios are not there, it is the simpler one, then simply you have to increment your front. Okay, and you have to return the value which you have retrieved earlier for the user to know that exactly which value got deleted, and you are going to exit from the function. Any doubt here? See, please be, at least in understanding part, please be crystal clear, because when I'm going to revise all this topic at the end of the session, I hope I can get relevant answers and not answers such as, Madam, we did not understand anything. Okay, then at that time you will be at the fault, because I'm asking again and again that did you get it? Because see, even I understand that this is all algorithm and theory. Okay, that's why I'm keeping the visualization part with Excel and examples more, so that the lecture does not go in in a very monotonous manner. Because understanding this algorithm is that much important, because you have practicals of circular Q also. Okay, see in your practicals. There is one whole practical of implementing a circular queue for NQ, DQ and display. Okay, even for your linear queue there is a practical for NQ, DQ and display again. Okay, so if you are clear with the algorithms, then implementation part will be very easy. Okay, very easy. But if the algorithm scenarios are not clear, then things are going to get difficult, especially in practical. Okay, see again I'm going for the DQ operation. Okay, in your DQ operation, the very first thing which you are going to check is that there are elements present to delete. Okay, it should not be like this array is completely empty. Okay, if it is completely empty, obviously you're not going to go for your DQ operation. Okay, so condition for that is if front is equals to -1. So in your circular queue, if your front and rear is equals to -1, that means your queue is empty. So you are going to print that same statement to your user. Fine. But if this condition is not true, that means there are some elements. So we have to check various scenarios in your circular queue. Okay. In your linear queue, we were simply writing it that if front is equal to -1, then underflow. But if it is not, then increment your front, retrieve the value. Okay, and retrieve the value, increment the front, and tell the user that this value has been deleted. It was the easiest part. But here we have to consider the scenarios. Scenario number 1. Okay, after the retrieval of the current value, wherever the front is pointing at, we are going to check for scenario number 1. That is, if front and rear both are pointing to same index value. Okay, so you can say that now my queue is empty. So you have to set both of them back to -1. Okay. Scenario number 2. If front is at max -1, okay, and rear has gone through its circular NQ operation, rear is somewhere at 2, index value 2, front is at max -1. So you can get to know that when front is here at this position, okay, front is here at max size -1. All right, then you can go back again here. You can reset your front back. So that is what you are going to do. Now you are not going to write in your program, you are not directly going to write front equal to 0. What you are going to write is front is equals to front plus 1 modulo max size. Okay, so front is at 6. Okay, 6 plus 1, 7. Max size is 7, correct? So 7 modulo 7, so that is equal to 0. So this F will be now here. Okay, so next time when you are going for NQ operation, DQ operation, K will be retrieved. Okay, F you are going to check. Okay, it is F is not equal to rear because F is 0 and rear is at 2. Okay, so that condition not there. Front equal to max -1, so that is also not true here because front is now pointing at 0. Okay, so in this case what you are going to do, simply increment the front. Okay, and you are going to tell that this K has been removed. Okay, this K has been removed once we increment this front from 0 to 1. Okay. Still doubt anywhere, anybody? Divyajit, I hope it is clear. Still any doubt? Please do ask. Anybody else with this doubt? Okay, then we can see a bit of your next cue. Okay, and then for today we shall stop till that part, and we'll revise the topics which we have seen today. Okay, I'll cover some topics of next cue. So see, we know that in your queues we are having circular queue, DQ, and priority queue. Okay, so circular queue we saw. Now what we are going to see is your DQs. Okay, now DQ is not a very new term to you, correct? Because in this whole session I have been using DQ operation, DQ operation, DQ operation. Alright, so what you understand by DQ till date is your delete operation. But there is a queue called DQ also. Okay, what is that queue? It is your double-ended queue. Okay, it is another name for DQ is double-ended queue. All right, DQ is sometimes written as DEQUEUE. Okay, but in technical writing, when you write this whole spelling, this DQ spelling, okay, it is interpreted as your DQ operation. So be careful, this high bold part is what your DQ Q means. Okay, there is circular Q, then there is DQ. Okay, so DEQUE is your Q type. DEQUEUE, that is your operation type. Okay, which means you have to remove from the queue. All right, now your double-ended queue is mixture of both, mixture of your stack and queue. Okay, and that's why it is double-ended queue, because see, observe the diagram. On your left hand side there is stack which is following LIFO. Okay, last in first out. So what you are doing in stack, you are incrementing the top. Okay, and you are doing the operation on the top of the stack, whether it is insertion or whether it is deletion. All right, now in queue it is the middle bar. Okay, that is first in first out. All right, so you are going on adding from one end and you are going on deleting from another end. But in double-ended queue, you are mixing up these two concepts and you are doing operation from either of the end. Okay, so from one end you can insert and delete, from another end also you can insert and delete. Okay, so that is your double-ended queue. That's why it is called double-ended queues. Okay, so that means from both the end you can do insertion and deletion. Okay, till now in queue, one end delete, one end insert. In stack, insertion and deletion from one end only. Okay, here in DQ you are doing insertion and deletion from both the ends. Okay, as I said, you can add or delete elements from front and rear. Okay, from both the ends. So it is behaving like queue and stack, but with limited functions. Okay, it is not using all the functions, it is not using a particular pattern, but it is behaving like queue and stack. All right, so see, this is what it is, the diagram representation of your DQ. Okay, there is front, there is back. All right. So from front also you can NQ and DQ or push and pop the elements. From back also you can push or pop or do the NQ and DQ operation as you like. All right. For example, we have a circular array, okay, with 6 memory cells. Again, this left and right is naming convention of front and rear, okay, and we have done the DQ operation. So ACD, this blank is the available memory spaces, okay, and A, C and D are the elements which were NQ'd. All right. So see, initially what you can take, this left and right are nothing but your ends, okay, left end and right end. All right. So you have to keep this picture in mind, okay, this particular picture in mind you have to keep, that front and back, left and right. Okay, so you can do push and pop from left end also, you can do push and pop from right end also. So keep this picture in mind. So let's say initially your left is at 2, okay, so we added elements A here, so left is at 2. All right, we added elements from right, okay, so 3 and then 4, okay, so C and D, okay, 5 6 left, 1 is here, there was one element which we already DQ'd, okay, so left right. Now F is added to the right of the sequence. Now this is your double-ended queue, so I can insert from both the ends, I can delete from both the ends. Okay, so I am inserting F on the right hand side, so right hand side got incremented. Okay, so right, which was previously pointing at 4, right equal to 4, is now pointing at right equal to 5. Okay, and F got added. Now, if I want to delete 2 letters from right hand side, okay, so I deleted, so I have to increment my right, okay, because again see, this right is going to act as the front also, so right is I deleted F because deletion is happening from right hand side, so I deleted F, so now right is pointing at 4. Again I deleted this D, okay, so right is pointing at 3. Fine. Left is doing nothing, so left is as it is, it was at 2 only. Now I want to do insertion from the left hand part, left, which was previously at position index value 2. Now I want to go and add the letters from left end, okay. So left, which was pointing at 2, first I'm adding K, so left went this side, okay, because this side there is a space onto its left end, so it went and add K, so left is at 1, okay. Now our DQ is also acting in a circular manner, okay, so using those limited function of circular manner, it is going to go back here at this part, okay. So L got added at 6, then it found that there is a space also at 5, so it can do the NQ operation, so M is at 5, so left is 5, right is 3. So you see it went back in this circular manner like this, but insertion is happening from both the ends, from this side also, from this end also. Deletion is also happening from both the ends, okay, previously as I told you. Again, if I'm deleting the letter from left, so left is pointing at 5, okay, so I'm deleting, so left equal to 6, okay, and M got deleted. Again, you want me to explain this example? See, it is a bit, a bit of contradicting with what we saw with front and rear in your circular queue, but As I said, it is going to use the limited function of your queue and stack both. Alright, so you have to visualize now in that manner. Don't keep it or don't compare it with your circular queue. It is using the concept of circular queue, but not exactly how front and rear are acting in circular queue. Okay, that is the limited function. Want me to explain this example again?
Yes, you can explain once again.
Okay. See, you need to keep this diagram in mind. Okay. You can add and delete from front and rear both. Okay. And it is going to behave like your queue also, and it is going to behave like your stack also in the operations, but not exactly how the increment is happening in your stack and queue. Fine. So that is what you have to keep in mind. Now we took this example. Okay. Initially, your DQ was having ACD and 3 empty spaces, and position of your left and right was at 2 and 4. Okay, left and right are your variables of each end. That is what you can say now. Okay, ACD is there, 2 places empty on right end, 1 place empty on left end. All right, now I am adding 1 element on the right hand side. Okay, so we are considering it right as our rear here. Okay, so right we incremented from 4 to 5 and F got added. Okay, so we are doing NQ operation on right end. All right. Now 2 letters again I want to delete from the right. So now here I am using the concept of stack. Okay, the top element getting deleted and decrementing the top. Okay, so top element here was F. So F removed, decremented the top. Okay, so right came to 4. Now top element is D. Okay, so we removed D, right came to 3. Correct? So we use the concept or say the function of stack here. Now again, I am going to add K, L and M on my left end. Okay, so my left was pointing at 2. Here, if you can see in this bar here, from left hand side, I want to add the elements. Okay, so left is at 2. So when I'm going to add from left end, I'm going to check that there are, space present or not on my left end. So there is one space present. Okay, so left moved to 1, K is added. Now again, left part of this K will be this part, this 6. Why? Because it is following the function of your circular queue also. Okay, so the left part to this one is back here. So your L is going to added at index number 6. Again the left part is empty, so M got added. So left is at 5. If you can observe, there were empty spaces at 1, 6, 5 and 4. Okay, so it is adding, going in NQ operation on left end. So it added K at 1, L at 6, M at 5. Okay, so left is pointing at 5. 4 is still empty. Okay, now let's say we are deleting 1 letter from left end. Now my left is this. Okay, so again we are using the concept of Q. We retrieved the letter M, incremented my front. So left is incremented from 5 to 6, and we told user that M is deleted. Okay. Again, we want to do insertion on the right end. We did DQ on left end. Okay, 1 letter on left is deleted. That means we deleted or we operated a DQ operation on left end of the queue, of your DQ. Now we want to do operation on right end of the queue. Right end means wherever the right is pointing at. Okay, so R is to be added. So again, using the the concept of your queue, increment your rear. Okay, so from 3 to 4, or you can say you are using the concept of stack also, increment your top. All right, so right from 3 it went to 4 and R got added wherever the right was pointing at whichever index. S is added to left. Okay, so now I want to add this. Now this particular left is following the concept of your queue. Okay, it is finding that there is a space on my left hand. Fine, so it is going to go at 5, so left is equals to 5 and S is there. F is getting added here. Okay, so see, it is using the concept of your stack, it is using the concept of your queue, and insertion deletion happening from both the end, from left end also, from right end also. Understood the example? Okay, so based on this insertion and deletion from both the ends, you can also restrict, okay, you can also restrict your insertion and deletion from either of the end. Okay, so in your DQ, you have two types, two possible subtypes of your DQ. One is your input restricted DQ. Okay, that means deletion can be done from both the ends, from left end and right end, but insertion can be made at only one end. Okay, either right or left. If this kind of restriction you are putting it, then you can say that you are dealing with input restricted DQ. See, you don't have to practically implement this anywhere, okay, but you have to understand the concept of DQ. So if you are restricting your input, that means input can be done from only one end. Okay, deletion can be done from both the ends. Then such type of DQ is known as input restricted DQ. Another one is output restricted DQ. One end, insertion can be made from both the ends, whereas deletion can be done from only one end. Okay, so that is your output restricted DQ. Clear with the subtypes? So if in exam, if you are asked what are the two subtypes and define them, then you are going to write it in this manner, that DQ are possibly having two subtypes. One is input restricted, another is output restricted. Input restricted, input can be done on only one end, deletion can be done on both the ends. Output restricted, input can be done on both the ends, output can be done on single end. Okay, that is what your input and output input and output restricted DQs are. Now where actually can you find this DQ? It is in Steele job scheduling algorithm. Steele job scheduling algorithm is actually nothing but an OS scheduling algorithm to schedule the execution of your program threads. Okay, A Steele job, the name is A Steele job scheduling algorithm. That is where the DQ is happening, or say you can find the application of DQ. And what is this A Steele job scheduling algorithm? It is an algorithm where it is deciding which program thread is going to run at which time. Okay, so insertion in the buffer, Okay, deletion of that buffer from either of the ends. So that is your A-Steal job scheduling algorithm. Another one is your palindrome checker. Do you know what is palindrome? What is palindrome, students?
The one which can be read from forward also and backward also.
Exactly. Even if you reverse, even if you reverse the string, then also it will be, you know, the same one. Either from end, from this, from left hand or from right hand, whatever you take. So in palindrome checker, you can find the application of DQ. Okay. All right. We are going to keep it till here. Okay. The next what we are going to cover in your queue is your priority queue, but that is not, we are not going to cover it here now. It is 11:10, so I'm keeping it till here. But what I'll do is we shall quickly revise the session. Okay. We started with insert operation in your linear queue. Yes, Raj, the correct and good example of palindrome checker. Okay. Now, students, revision time. Come back here, everybody. Linear queue. Okay. What is the first condition to check if you want to go for NQ in your linear queue? If you want to go NQ operation in your linear queue, first of all, what are you going to check?
Front and rear should be equal to -1.
Correct. What is the another condition? Exactly, Bharti, right. If it is full or not, that is the another condition. So for your queue to be full, what is the condition?
Max size -1 rear.
Rear is equals to max minus 1. Okay. So if that is the condition, that means queue is full. You cannot go for your NQ. But if this is false, then which scenario we are checking? First of all, scenario number 1, the element which we are going to insert, whether it is the first element. So how can we check that? For element to be our very first element in the queue, how can we check that?
Front +1. We will give front +1 if the condition is satisfied.
Not front +1. We are in NQ, so we are not going to deal with front unless and until it is the first element. If your front is equals to -1 and rear equal to -1, okay. If this is the condition, then you can say that the element which you want to add is going to be your first element. Alright, and you are going to increment both of them to 0. This is your linear queue, okay? NQ in your linear queue. Otherwise, if it is not your first element in the queue, then simply just increment your rear. Okay, so that is your insertion. Wherever the rear is pointing at, there you are going to place the value. Okay, and you are exiting. So that is the NQ operation in your linear queue. DQ operation, the first condition which you check. Rishabh? Rishabh, unmute yourself.
Yes, ma'am.
If I'm going for DQ operation, what is the first thing which I'm going to check is?
Ma'am, if there are elements in the in it or not.
Absolutely right. And what is the condition for that?
-1.
What is -1? What is -1? Which variable? -1, correct. But which variable?
Topmost.
We are talking about queue, Rishabh, not stack.
So like the front element is 0.
No,
Rear.
front is not. Front and rear both at -1. Okay.
Okay.
Your answer was correct. You are going to check whether the queue is empty or not, and with what condition, whether the variable is at -1. But what I asked is name the variable. So front and rear equal to -1. Okay. Or you can say front is greater than rear. Then you can write underflow. But if it is not, then retrieve the value for you to print it for the user, okay, wherever the front is pointing at. Give the printf statement that this particular value is getting DQ'd, okay, and you have to just simply increment your front. All right. So that is your simple DQ operation in your linear queues. What is the drawback of a linear queue?
मैम अगर एक इंडेक्स पे आ गया तो फिर लाइक उधर दूसरा नहीं कर सकते. Delete.
Correct. So in a way, what you can say is wastage of space. Okay, because it is going to give you overflow condition once once the rear is reaching max -1. But if we go and look at front, then front has deleted elements from the back. Okay, and there is memory which is acquired by your array. But as there is no mechanism to go back again at 0th index, so wastage of space is the drawback of your linear queue. Now to overcome this drawback, okay, and avoid the wastage of space, we went with the concept of circular queue. Okay, what is circular queue? What can we say about circular queue? Aditya? Oh, two Adityas. Aditya Jain. Aditya Jain. Unmute yourself.
Yes, ma'am. Hello. Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, I can hear you. What can you say about circular queue, dear?
Circular queue. Ma'am, it is linear data structure.
Correct, but why it is known as circular queue?
Ma'am, because of ring buffer.
Because of
First
ring buffer. Okay. What is
First position is a circle. That's why it's called a circular.
okay? So you are saying that from
First in,
last.
first out.
Yeah, that is okay. That is the pattern which it is following. But what is
First position.
वापस एक बार फिर.
मैम फर्स्ट पोजीशन लास्ट पोजीशन तक कनेक्ट करता रहता है, इसलिए उसको मैम इट इज कॉल्ड मैम सर्कुलर लूप.
Correct. See, it is not, your regular linear, but it is having a circular mechanism. Okay, and that's why you can say that it is circular in shape. Okay, so once your queue is getting full, we are overcoming the drawback of a linear queue. Okay, so once the queue is full, this circular queue is going to reset your rear back to 0. Okay, only if your front has moved forward. Okay, this is the most important thing. It won't be going back to 0. Your rear is won't be going back to 0 if your front has not moved from 0. Okay, because it will make it as fully inserted circular queue. Okay, because front is at max size minus 1, rear is at max size minus 1 and front is at 0. Okay, so that makes it a fully inserted circular queue. But if you have done DQ, that means you have incremented your front. That means you have moved your front from 0 to further index values, either 1 or 2. So you can say that there is space to insert new elements, and then only you can go or reset your rear back to 0. Now, to reset that rear from max minus 1 back to 0, you are going to make use of your modulo function. Okay? So, it will be rear plus 1 modulo max size. That is what you are going to use. Now, for condition of your circular queue to be full is that front is 0, rear is max minus 1. If this is the condition, you cannot reset your rear back to its initial position, that is 0 index. Okay, but what is the condition for circular queue to be empty? Both of them pointing at minus 1. Okay, then you can say that your circular queue is empty. Alright. Then we saw this example. Okay, we have a circular queue with 1, 8, 7, 5, 4 is empty. I went for DQ, 1 and 8 got deleted. Okay, so 3 spaces remaining. Front is at Q of 2, rear is at Q of 3. Now I want to add the values 4 and 6. So I am going to increment my rear. I am not going to touch my front. Okay, so rear incremented plus 1. So from Q of 3 it went to Q of 4. 4 got added. Again I went for NQ. Okay, rear plus 1 incremented. So rear is pointing at. Now see, rear here is max minus 1 size. Okay, so that condition is true. If rear is equals to max minus 1, then rear equal to, in the bracket, rear plus 1 modulo max size. Okay, so 4 plus 1, 5. 5 is the max size. So 5 modulo 5. So 0. Okay, so rear reset to 0. 6 added to Q of 0. Okay, so currently now my front is pointing at Q of 2 and rear is pointing at Q of 0. We also saw that we are pretending it in a circular manner. Actually, there is a buffer in the array, and that buffer is going from last to front. All right. So that mechanism is happening in a circular manner, and that's why we are saying the queue to be circular. Fine. We also saw the working. All right. In a circular increment, it is going on. And we also saw that once rear plus 1 is equal 5, you are going to throw it as an overflowing. But in that case, you can again reset your rear back to the start of Q using your modulo function. Okay, or modular division, you can use it and reset your rear back to 0. Alright. We saw this example. Initially, your circular queue is empty, so front and rear minus 1. as the element was the very first element to be added. Okay, so we checked if front and rear equal to -1, increment both front and rear. So both of them incremented to 0 and element got added. Now again we are going to check front equal to rear equal to -1. No, that means the element which we want to add is not our first element. Okay, so we are just going to increment our rear. We are not touching our front. We are simply going to increment our rear. Okay, so rear got incremented, 2 got added. We went on doing the NQ operation, okay, and we reached till the max size. So rear is at max -1, front is at 0. Now if I want to do NQ, it is going to throw me an error. Why? Because front is at 0 and rear is at max -1. There is no space in the memory to add new element. So first I have to go for DQ operations. So I did a couple of DQ operations. So I freed up the memory. Now I can reset my rear back to 0 using modulo division. Okay, so r plus 1 modulo max size. So 4 plus 1 5, 5 modulo 5 0. Okay, so rear is pointing at 0, new element added there. Again I went for NQ because there is an empty space. Okay, my rear is not equal to front. Fine, so I can increment my rear. So rear plus 1, rear got incremented. All right, so 7 is added. Now again the queue is full. Why? Because if I go and increment rear, it is going to point at same index value as front, and that means there is no space for queue to be for element to be added in the queue. So that is again the condition for queue full. Okay. We have discussed this insertion operation also here. So the only thing which you need to check in insertion is the various kind of scenarios. Scenario number 1, there is a space. Scenario number 2, if there is a space, then again, is the element to be the first one? Okay, if it is not the first one, then is it, the element somewhere after rear equal to max -1? So that means you have to again go for the circular operation. Okay, scenario number 3, if neither of the two, then simply increment your rear. Okay, and wherever the rear is pointing at, place your value. Okay, so that is what we have discussed here in this examples also. Again in delete, for circular queue, you have to check that there are elements to be deleted or not. Okay, so you are going to check it with front equal to -1. If that is true, that means there are no elements to be deleted. Take the value. If this is false, if front equal to -1 is false, then take the value first of all wherever the front is pointing at. Okay, then you have to check that if front is equals to rear, scenario number 1, if front equal to rear, you have to reset your front and rear both to -1. Okay, otherwise if front has reached the max size -1, the maximum size of your array, then you have to reset back your front to 0. Okay, or neither of the two condition is true. Okay, neither of the scenario is occurring, then simply increment your front. Return the value means print the value to the user, tell him or her which value has exactly been deleted. Okay, and return the value. All right, so that was your insertion and deletion. Okay, I'm not going for DQ again. We shall cover it in our next session, the revision for DQ. Keeping it till here. Any doubt in this session, students? Any doubt anywhere in this session? And I hope everybody has also noted down the necessary conditions. One more thing I would like to remind you guys, okay, is that practicals have been assigned to you in your Google Classroom. If you have not joined the Google Classroom, link has been sent individually to each of the student. Okay, kindly find that link in your email and the classroom. As soon as you join the classroom, you are going to be assigned two practicals. They are having some deadlines, and deadlines are also like not kept in a very short span of time. You have 2 weeks of time, okay, from the date it was assigned for two practicals. So please join the classroom and start writing your practicals. Instructions have been mentioned in both the practicals, how you need to submit it, and strictly everybody has to follow those instructions. Okay, no exception for anybody. Fine. Another thing, as the CC of your class, again I'm reminding to everybody, if you have not joined our official Telegram group, okay, WhatsApp is not the official one anymore. Telegram group is the official class group. Okay, if you have not joined it yet, the name of that classroom is 3TP1 3TO1 AI Big Data class. Okay, let me just give you the exact name, otherwise you will say, madam, that is not the name. Okay, then classroom name is 3TP1 3TO1 AI Big Data. Okay, if you have not joined that group, still it is remaining, please contact me over Telegram, message me or text me over Telegram. I will add you in the group. All the official announcements regarding the class, link, you are not going to get link. You have to message me, and I am the person who is going to add you in the group once I receive a message from you. Okay, students who were not there previously did texted me over Telegram, and I have added them. Okay, for those who are remaining, you are not in the group, you are not going to get link. You have to text me over Telegram. I will add you in the group. All the official announcements will be done in your Telegram group only. Okay, you should not expect any official announcement on your WhatsApp group. Clear? Fine. BT students, 1 to 10, write your numbers in the chat. Okay, 11 to 15. Thank you all for attending this session. You can leave the session once you have written your numbers in the chat.
Ma'am? Hello,
Yes,
ma'am.
Yasin.
Ma'am, I had one query.
Can we discuss it after I take the attendance, please?
Okay. Okay, ma'am.
All right. 1 to 10 AI. AI 1 to 10 only. And please maintain your serial order, okay? Please. Otherwise, one or two will be missed due to mismatched serial order, and then it will affect your attendance rate. 11 to 20. 21 to 30. Thirty-one to 40. Forty-one to 50. Fifty-one to 60. Sixty to 71. Okay, anybody left? Fine. You are free to leave the session. Thank you all.